it. At the live chat. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. As many of you guys see, I'm on the road again. So, good morning. Can everybody hear me okay? I don't think I can see the chat the way I've got it right now. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to try to monkey with it. So, you guys can chat amongst yourselves. We're heading to Leilani Simon's court hearing. And, I do see some chats. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you guys. We're running straight on YouTube. We're not going through StreamYard. I figured that might help a little bit with some of our issues that we have when we go on the road. I brought the hot box. I've got the hot box with me, so if we go down, we'll get this up. Many people are hating on Bullhorn Betty for an error. For the West trial, we did get the order. We will be, we're going to make the haters' heads turn come Monday, because they are going to absolutely, if they hate, and it's all the same people that hate Bullhorn Betty, right? That bitch about it and go on a freaking year tirade about me. It's like it falls on deaf ears, because all you ever do is complain about me. Complain. Oh, well. Bullhorn Betty made a mistake. So what? Sue me, right? Sue me. It's not going to stop our coverage on the case. Again, wait until Monday. We're going to make the haters' heads explode. Literally freaking explode. And it's all going to be done above board and in accordance with the court's order. Because I do have the court's order in my possession. I got it yesterday. So you guys are going to want to be here on Monday. Stout case, we're going to be monitoring that and watching that on the way back, because we've got a long drive. I've been up since about, 3:30 this morning. I think I got on the road. I'm not sure exactly when I got on the road this morning, but I'm supposed to be in Savannah before the hearing. So that's all that matters. And I'm not staying there. I'm going to go there for the hearing. I'm getting there a little early so we can do a live out in front of the courthouse. We're going to go over some of the case stuff. What are we going to, court for today? What is the motion hearing? It's to remove several counts of the indictment against Leilani, including this is a significant in and of itself. What do you mean? I have no idea what word that person was using. It's not part of my language that I use. But we are going to make, and I saw it, and there was one that was in here complaining yesterday. So we're going to make your heads spin. And like I said, we're going to do it all above board. I've got the order. I've read the order. I've researched the order. And we now know what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. So I don't want to lose coverage on the West case. Because, people don't know how to follow the order. But we're going to follow the order, and we're going to be doing our live coverage on the case. So be here for that on Monday. We're probably going to miss today. I'm going to be listening in. I don't know if they have court today because, quite frankly, after all that stuff happened yesterday, I was quite stressed out. Obviously, you can imagine my stress level. We heard there was issues with the phones. I call up to the courthouse. I tell them who I am and what I want to do. Now, is it that she misunderstood what I was going to? I have no idea, but I say the same spiel every time I call a courthouse. It's not like I go in there under the radar or try to be devious in any way, shape, or form. That's not the truth or you guys know. So anyways, I had no idea where the link was. So the courts actually walked me through the website and everything to get to the link. So naturally, I just assumed that it had something to do with the phone systems. Clearly, we can, run with the audio from the courthouse, because I thought it was a licensing issue, not a judge issue. But either way, we got it all worked out, and we're going to be able to proceed Monday. I'm going to get it all set up so we can proceed. It's going to be a little different, but we're going to be able to cover it. So with that being said, we will move on with that. The Stout case, obviously, that didn't even go on yesterday. People were like, "If you pay attention," I've been on the field. Like, I'm not an armchair detective. I'm an in-the-field researcher. Like, I'm out there. I'm in Glenn County doing work. I'm going over to Marion County doing, I don't know where these people have all this time on their hands to be watching everything. Like, I don't watch other YouTube channels. If you guys haven't noticed, I do my own thing. I don't get my research from other YouTubers that have no education in the field. I'm sorry, I just don't do it. That's just the way I go, the way I roll. So it's been a great morning. It's a little, like we have overcast out right now. It's a little, I don't know, kind of had to drive through. But so far this morning, 12, yeah. Oh, and then just for my mods, good morning, ZA. For my mods, if anybody's rude in the chat for any reason, we're going to follow the rules of this chat. If their comments are rude or do not go with our, good morning, Oki, they don't go or vote with our rules of the chat, we're going to implement, remove their comment. Good morning, Mary. Remove their comment. First strike. Second strike is time them out. Third strike, they're completely blocked from this chat. We don't need them in here. They can go over to their roach channels to talk about me, but we're not going to have the roaches in my chat talking about me. So move them on out and let them go to the platforms where they're more comfortable. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Pebbles, CA. And we've got some updates as well. I just don't have them with me, nor can I read them at the present time because I'm driving and need to have both hands on the wheel. So I see Jennifer's in the house. So whoever that's whatever XXX, go ahead and delete that. Go ahead and, literally don't even, just block them. They don't go through there, so they can just sit here and make another account. I don't care, but block them. Where is she headed? Faith Lynn, I'm heading to Savannah, Georgia. We are covering the Leilani Simon case, so we're going there. It's a pretty big deal, in all fairness, because. Good morning, Julie. It's a pretty big deal because they're trying to get some counts of the indictment removed. Now, I don't think because of the severity of the crime, the malice murder crime, I don't think they're going to be able to get that removed. I don't think their legal arguments are strong enough to have that count removed. However, there are several other accounts on the indictment that they might be successful in removing. This is where they whittle away at the law, they whittle away at whether or not these rise to the level of the statute and the case law. So it's going to be very interesting. You know me, being a legal professional, I always love hearing legal arguments. I always love hearing legal arguments. Legal arguments are, it helps you in the future because when you see a case, you're going to be able to identify very quickly what legal arguments that they will most likely have for that particular case. So these types of pretrial hearings are very interesting to me, and it's a great learning experience, not just for me, but for my audience about these types of cases. So I pray nothing gets dropped. I pray nothing gets dropped either. I'm hoping that this is all for nothing. It's going to go to trial. The judge is going to allow the jurors to decide whether she has committed these crimes versus them, arguing and getting stuff removed. But we don't know. We know that there was, no charge. Hadley really didn't like to charge anybody. I need to get over. I'm getting to the wrong lane. Hold on, I need to get over. My turn's coming up. Now we're going to be going into some desolate areas, so I may just go ahead in an abundance of caution. Oh, there's Turkey Man in the house. Nice to see you, Turkey Man. We're probably going to need prayers today. We need prayers that Leilani's accounts don't get removed, that the prosecution has a good handle on this case. We're praying and keeping our fingers crossed. We also need prayers for me because, Lord have mercy, I made a mistake yesterday. And wouldn't you know, everybody under the sun likes to attack Bullhorn Betty. I would love if I paid so much attention to them. I bet you I could probably find at least 10 to 12 mistakes to my every one mistake that I make, but you never hear them complaining about themselves. But I need prayers, right? I need prayers when stuff gets a little tough. What is that old saying? When it, all right. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but my GPS is barking at me. I need to turn. And I got my purple shirt on. It's got my little bedazzles, like bling bling. I got my bling blings on. I'm gonna be noticeable out there in that sun. I'm just gonna be shining like a star. Did you get what happened yesterday? Taken care of. If you're talking, oh, okay, 326 East. I gotta go 326 East. There we go. This is the craziest spot where I'm at. There's like a pilot on one side of the road, and there's a pilot directly on the other side of the road. So pilot's like got this corner locked down. I got this corner locked down. I'll get out your way. There we go. Is Dolly in the house? Good morning, Dolly. Good morning. I didn't get a chance to watch Turtle Island. I ended up falling asleep so early last night because I had to get up early and hit the road. I'm making one big loop. I'm running up to Savannah, Georgia to cover Leilani's hearing, and I'm going to be driving back tonight. So, but I called the courthouse yesterday. I don't think Dolly was here for this, so I might as well tell Dolly what's going on. So I called the courthouse yesterday, do the same spiel, this is Andra, blah, 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 with BULLHORNBETTY channel. I'm trying to find the live stream. I'm wanting to live stream this, and I heard that we couldn't use the phone systems, blah, blah, blah. So the lady decides to walk me through. I don't know I didn't go through all the push button here, and, I hit the 0 and talked to whoever was on the phone. So, anyways, is this my turn? Where's my turn? My turn should be coming up here. So anyways, I start running it. Everybody in the chat, everybody under the sun starts coming over here screaming at me saying that I am violating the court order. I'm breaking the rules. And I'm like, I just got off the phone with the courthouse. And they walked me through it and told me, I told them who I was and what I was wanting to do. Not one person said, hey, you might want to check the court order, or here's the court order, or you can't do that, or anything like that. Nobody said that. And I'm talking to the freaking courthouse. You would think that the courthouse, of all people, would be able to tell me, hey, that's going to be a violation of the court order. But either way, we ran I think it was 5 minutes of it. Everybody under the sun, and they broke for lunch. Everybody under the sun decides to start yelling at me, which I don't ever listen to because they yell at me so much that when they yell at me for something that's realistic, we don't believe them. It's like the boy that cried wolf, right? So, we're just trying to figure out. So I'm calling the courthouse again, and then the lady that sounds like the one that I spoke to, she kept saying, "Let me get you to the right person that can answer your question." I have a funny feeling she's the one that walked me through it because she was so adamant about making sure I spoke to the right person with the answers on it. So I called back, and they give me the court order. So I've looked at the court order. So we are going to, as I'm on the road today, but on Monday we're going to start doing our live coverage of the West trial in accordance with the court order, and we're going to do it. And people are probably going to get a little pissed off, but that's okay. We'll do it in accordance with the court order. It's going to be a little creative, but we're going to get it done. Coffee, LOL. I know. You guys, listen to this. Wherever. Okay, I'm coming up to where I got to turn. But look at this. I brought my coffee pot. I made coffee and not having coffee. So while I'm coming to a stop, tell me I'm not dedicated to the coffee club, all right? Tell me I'm not dedicated to the coffee club. Now, when you're driving around with a pot of coffee in your car, you probably have a coffee problem. I'm just saying, you probably have a coffee problem. Right? So, so anyways, we are heading to Leilani Simon's hearing. I'm very interested in this. If they'll let, there is a possibility the judge may allow us to live stream from the courtroom. I'm not sure, but it does sound like if she doesn't allow us to live stream inside the courtroom, it does sound like she's probably the way she's been ruling is she's been allowing at least a pooled videographer to take the recording and distribute it to all of us. But the problem is if you're not there, hopefully this is running. It looks like it just switched over to my hotspot. So hopefully you guys didn't have any disruption in the coverage. If we go down, I will change it to the hotspot, but it's popping up saying I got my hotspot, but I don't want to turn it on until we need it. So I'm going to go in there, and if we're allowed to live stream, I'm going to live stream right from the courthouse. If we're not allowed to live stream, as soon as the hearing is over, we will be coming live. So when I get there, I'm going to do a live for about an hour and a half, and I'm also going to set up a live after the hearing is over so you guys know exactly what happened at that hearing. We can tweet while we're in the courtroom, but I really don't. I guess I should. I would rather post on, YouTube because, that's where my audience is, YouTube and TikTok, but I haven't even used TikTok in forever. I just amassed a lot of people, and they haven't unsubscribed from me. Probably need to drop them a video just to keep them entertained over there. But it's nice to see you, Dolly. It's nice to see you in the house. But I'm going to see your girlfriend. I'm going to see number 32. All right? I'll ask her while I'm there if she's reconsidered marrying you yet. Maybe she has. Maybe you're her knight in shining armor she's been waiting for. I'm going to see Dolly's girlfriend. She doesn't have all she gets. I'm all she's got. You're hilarious. So, but you know what you did? You forgot to send me, Dolly. You forgot to send me the engagement ring. I don't know how I'm supposed to propose to her for you without the engagement ring. Do you have a pair of handcuffs? That seems like her style that she really likes. If you got a pair of handcuffs, just send them to me. I'll hold them up and get on one knee and say, Dolly wants you to marry him. Would you please pick yourself up? Those silver bracelets are much cheaper than the diamond. I got to be honest with you. All right, I'm done. I'm done poking fun. Oh Lord. Yeah. So we're Dolly knows he's special in her heart, right? Like he says, he's all she's got. Because she ain't got me. She's got to look at my ugly mug when she goes into court. She does try to avoid. She doesn't really like to look at the news or who's behind her. And I can tell her, nobody is in her family that goes to these things. 5-time kicking. Can you guys hear me? Okay, we're back. All right, let me know if you need to. Just had the tires. Hopefully, it's just this. Oh, and I went there because I've been having a vibration in the front of the car since I had the tires rotated on my last oil change. Come to find out, my driver's passenger tire had literally no weights on it. So now this morning, we got a fresh oil change. We've got radiator fluid. We've got tires balanced. This car has driven better this time than I think it's driven in the last year. So I'm very happy with that. You never know because I'm traveling all the time, right? So I can't wait until it's starting to get too sunny out. My eyes are starting to hurt. I'm going to get a headache. Um, you're good to go. Good. And like I said, I do have my hotspot. It's already been engaged. It's just when we go down, I'll switch over. But I find that if I switch over too soon, then and if we're not in that area, then we have just as many problems with going down as we usually do. So I'm good with that. Good morning. Good morning. We're not doing much of anything. We're just talking. You guys are just keeping me company on the ride. I did bring my computer. I could actually do something on the computer and play some videos, but at this point, it's like I don't want to take my eyes off the road. It's gonna, I'm already having issues getting where I need to go. It's so far away that anything could literally go on. How many miles do you have on your car? Well, just the other day, we crossed over 169,000 miles. Now we're about to cross over 169,500 miles. I'm at 169,426. But I keep this car, like I keep the oil changes in it. It's like every 3,000 miles, even with my synthetic. I run synthetic through this car, but I still, and that's supposed to last you in a car like this 7,500 miles, but I still change it out about every 3,000 to 4,000 miles. So it's basically every trip. So every time I do a trip, I usually my oil in this car gets changed about once a month. I'll put it like that, unless it's a month that I'm home, and then it'll probably be 2 to 3 months. If I'm home, it'll take 3 months for me to get that kind of mileage on the car, but I'm never home. Coffee, I love your name. Right? Thank you, Sonia. So, yeah, it's for all the mods that are in here. Sonia's got it right. If you see anybody in here, just a start step, just immediately block them. If you're unsure and they're following the rules, but it's just not good, you can go ahead and time them out or just remove their message. But I leave that up to my mods. They're the ones that handle this. They know the rules of the chat. And at this point, everybody that comes here, even the haters, should know the rules of my chat. We are on the road. We'll be in Savannah in about another 4 hours. Right now, it's crazy because on 3 months, you're getting ready to be East Coast Florida. The 60-hour parts that are 55, 45, 35, so you're constantly up and down, up and down, up and down, all the whole time through 301 to I-95. But I'm already close to the top of Florida. Oh, is that funny? I don't know what to call this one. I don't know what to call my car. I call it the Black Beast now because it's got 160,000 miles on it. Like this beast. We have Beast. I drive a Beast, a small Beast. So it being Thursday, no, it's being Friday. Dolly Vision, good morning. Sonia's saying good morning. I'm surprised Dolly's over here. Usually we have a lot to talk about, but this is going to be like a boring live. You guys are just going to be hanging out with me as we ride. I got nothing to present. I mean, I can complain about the same stuff I've been complaining about, like, Trenton's case. I can complain about Maddie's case. By the way, that reminds me. So Maddie's case, let me just get an update on that. You guys know about the 26-year-old mom of two. She was with her husband. She works at the Mayo Clinic. She's a really high-to-do. He's a computer guy that does computer advertisement or something. They seem like they're very highly educated people, and they are not married. They're boyfriend and girlfriend, and she just up and disappears. They drop the kids off at daycare. They go home together, and he takes off in her car, her minivan, at 10 a.m., and her work is concerned that she doesn't show up. Well, my first question is, how was she going to get to work if he had the minivan? But he actually made a statement, a public statement to everybody, basically stating that, he has nothing to do with it. And people were asking him, why is he not showing up to the press conferences and hearings and stuff like that? And he said it's because police said that they're in fear for his life. And I'm thinking what they're concerned about is her family, because her family won't, they won't say anything about him. They won't. They're not coming to his defense. They're not saying, look, he's a good guy. He didn't do this. There's actually more of an underbreath of them splitting up, or may even have split up at the time that she disappeared. So this case is gonna get saucy. The law enforcement has said that they're confident that they're going to bring her home. So I think they have an idea of where she may be, or in a general vicinity that they need to find her. But they said that they were confident that they were going to bring her home. And usually, law enforcement doesn't say those things. They usually, say that we're doing everything we can to bring her home. We're doing everything that we can to find her. But to say we're confident we're going to bring her home is a real strong statement. So I'm very interested in what they have, but it seemed like all of their search areas for Maddie have been where her boyfriend had her minivan. It seems to me that they're trying to locate his movements. So that's concerning. If they're trying to locate his movements and trying to get people in and around from where they are all the way to Fillmore, then they're basically, they don't believe the boyfriend's story. There's something going on there. And again, is it common for him to use her minivan? So I'm like, literally, it's not making sense, because they keep saying that he left in her minivan to run errands and was gone from 10:30 in the morning, or 10 in the morning, to like 1:30 at night, or in the afternoon, 1:30 in the afternoon. So you're looking at a good 3 solid hours of errands. That's quite extensive. 26 years old. So you're people in the age of technology. So they're not like your grandma and grandfather, which like to go to, pay their bills in person, and like to go to the banks and deal with their finances in person. These are 26-year-olds. These are 20-something-year-olds. These are people that have been born and trust, computers. Like, what would they need? What kind of errands would he need? Because back in the day, he used to be running bills, go get groceries, pick up dry cleaning, those types of errands. So what errands he would do? And I'm concerned about minivan. That common practice for that family? Did he constantly drive her minivan? And if so, what was she driving? Did her boyfriend have a car of his own? Very curious. And if so, why did he choose not to use his own car? Especially with the wife needing to go to work. If he like I can tell you personally, like me, I can drive anything. I can drive a van. I can drive a not just because I've driven them. I've driven them. I've had to back them up. I've had to park them. I've had to do a lot of different things. Being out in the construction world, So women don't like this car. I love the car. I can only tell you problems. So I have the hotspot. It converted over to the hotspot, and the hotspot doesn't have service here, but my phone does. So I had to turn the hotspot service off, and I will turn it back on as needed whenever I drop on my phone. So sorry about the buffering. We should be up and running. It seems like it's a Verizon network here where I'm driving, as opposed to AT&T. I've got two services. I'm actually considering getting another box for Sprint. So we'll have AT&T, Sprint, and Verizon. And then no matter where we're at, we'll be completely covered. Yeah, so I do have technical issues on the road when we're moving and not stable, but that's okay. I just didn't feel like driving by myself today. I'll be honest with you. I didn't feel like driving by myself. That's the truth. It sucks because I really don't listen to music. I don't watch TV. So it's, even like the whole time I was at the hotel room in Glenn County, I was on the computer researching. I didn't turn the TV. I can name literally on like two fingers the times that I have went into a hotel and actually turned on a TV because I don't watch TV. And when I'm not on YouTube, I'm usually researching either stuff for my county because I'll be speaking on something on Tuesday or Thursday, or I'm researching stuff with these cases. So for all the haters there in the back, I can tell you I do not, very rarely watch other YouTubes. If an audience member doesn't send me something to watch, I typically don't watch it because it distracts me from researching my own stuff. I don't like other people's research. I like my own research. I don't mind utilizing some things to help direct me, but I like doing my own independent, research and fact-finding gathering. Sometimes we get it wrong, sometimes we get it right, but most times we do get it right, which is a good thing. Thank you, Be Betty fan. Thank you for keeping the chat up to date. We also, don't forget, today is the last day to get your tickets for the raffle. We had, set, what our goal was for this raffle, to be able to kind of get some money for the channel to help with some of the stuff that we need, and also provide you guys a something in return, like a shirt or a hat. And I set the goal, and I have to tell you, as of last night, when I went on to YouTube, onto the third-party raffle site, we have met our goal. I just wanted to let you guys know that we did meet our goal. Anything over and above that, I appreciate everything, and I hope whoever buys a ticket, I wish you guys all the best of luck on who's going to win. But you not only get to pick out either a shirt or a hat, and it has to be the BULLHORNBETTY line from Sonia. You can get once the winner's drawn, it should email you from the system, but we'll also be calling that winner live on our show tomorrow at the end around 8 a.m. We will be letting the winner know who they are publicly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have you get a hold of Sonia and give her your size and what you want. Again, you can either choose a hat or a shirt. She will get that for you. It will be made with love, and it'll be shipped out to you much quicker than, say, a Teespring. So I'm really excited about this. The first go round has been wildly successful. It seems like people love it. We're not going to do. We've got 4 of them because I wanted to buy 4 shirts from Sonia, but and she sends me shirts and stuff. So I wanted those shirts to go to the audience. So I have decided to work with her where I'm going to purchase the shirts from her, including the shipping. And all you have to do, or the hats, because I think the hats might be a little bit more, but that's okay. I love the hats so much, I decided to incorporate them in there. So you can either get a hat or a shirt. It doesn't matter to me which one you get. And whoever the winner is, just get a hold of Sonia, pick out your item, and she'll let me know the cost, and we'll get that all taken care of. It'll be fun. We're also going to do a few of the free raffles because potentially. We're doing a free raffle for a bottle of wine. I still have to get to the post office to find out if I can mail the bottle of wine. If I can't, then we'll just instant card a bottle of wine to someone. So we're going to do a wine giveaway, and that's going to be open for everyone. That's going to be a free ticket. So those that like wine can have it, but I'm not real. I mean, I drink wine once in a while, but I cook mostly with wines. I don't really drink the wines. Occasionally I'll get a bottle of Barefoot. It'll last me a freaking month or more, but that's kind of I bought these bottles of wine at this fundraiser to help raise funds. It wasn't because I wanted them. I didn't. It was sight unseen. I just pick up. You pay $20. You pick up a bag. I don't think these bottles of wine are worth $20. But again, it's not. It wasn't. It wasn't for. The cost of wine. It was to raise money. So I expect to pay more for stuff than I got. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I paid for those 2 bottles of wine was $20 a piece. So I got $40 of wine. They're probably only worth $10 together, but it's okay. It's okay. Somebody actually likes the Josh Chardonnay. I think it was Josh Chardonnay, and there's also a Pinot Grigio. But again, I want to make sure because we're monitored like a hawk by the haters. So I'd hate to do anything. I got to dot my I's and cross my T's, even though they're not held to that standard. But and I'm out to trigger them. I won't lie. I'm going to trigger them because all they've done is bash me for 2 years, and every opportunity I got to make their heads explode, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So Monday, we're going to make all the haters' heads explode when we do our live coverage of the West case in accordance with court order. And the comments fade quicker than I can read them, so I'm just going to trust that you guys are doing good. Is everybody playing nice in the chat for my mods, if my mods can answer? If my mods can just let me know that everybody's being good and everything's going fine in the chat. So with Maddie, just to let you guys know, they did drop the kids off. The boyfriend says he left the house at 10 a.m. and he didn't come back from his errands at 1:30 when he realized his wife was gone, which again is odd for me because we heard that she didn't show up for work. That was a little concerning because I have to go back and read it because I'm covering 3 different cases and I want to make sure I'm not, adding that portion in from another case into her case. But I'm pretty sure there was something about her job, Mayo Clinic. Somebody said that she didn't show up for work. And again, my question is, why would the boyfriend believe that she's going to be home at 1:30 if she had to go to work? And what was her work schedule? How did he expect her to get to work with him having the car? So a lot of unanswered questions. The family's coming out. They're not protecting the boyfriend. It doesn't seem like they have a lot to say about him. Nothing good or bad. And that's never ever good. When you have a man and your family member is the female, and that female has 2 children with that man, typically the family, whether they like him or not, accept him because that is the father of the children. Oh, thank you, ZA. Doing some jumping jacks, are we? So I would have to think that there's been a lot of conversations that she's had privately with her family that they're only apprised of, that he has no knowledge of. She probably spoke to them about how unhappy she was, maybe mistreatment. She seemed like a very bright, inspiring, and aspiring woman. She was moving up in her field. She was getting a better position. It seemed like to me that she became the breadwinner. And we know that a lot of men, that is almost disrespectful. Instead of embracing the fact that their significant other is doing well and well beyond expectations and challenge themselves to do better, they start resenting that person because now they're the breadwinner. They're kind of in control. They say yes or no, whereas the man feels like that's his right to do as opposed to the female. In some cases, I don't know if that's the case. This is just a theory that's developing as to maybe some resentment that's going on. Maybe there was an affair in the relationship. Maybe Maddie, was starting to have feelings for somebody, a doctor, a researcher, or somebody that she worked long hours with. Those types of things do happen. Maybe she realized just how truly unhappy she was, and she was ready to end the relationship. And this man is thinking, oh my God, I don't make as much money as she does. She's going to take my kids away from me. She's going to, go for child support. Who knows? Who knows what was going on in their life? But it does seem like there's definitely something hinky with the boyfriend. There's definitely some kind of, you can feel it, even though, we talk all the time about one of the reasons why we go and put boots on the ground out there, out here in these cases, and it's because we learn a lot more and we feel a lot more. We get vibes and we have our instincts working when we're out in the field, and we feel things that we don't feel through a computer, that we can't sense through a computer. Those are only things that you can sense being next to somebody or watching them in person. It's not something you can really see on a recorder or feel on a recorder. So I'm sure, but when you can feel it, like you can almost cut the air with a knife when it comes to her family, her biological, like her mom, dad, sister, things like that. You can almost cut the air with a knife as to how they feel about this man. You actually can feel their disdain for her boyfriend when they talk, even though they don't say anything about him. Because they're not saying anything about him, I think they're the threat to his life, and that's why law enforcement told him not to show up at the press conference, because her family's there, and I doubt her family wants to sit next to somebody they feel has injured and has killed their loved one, because that's where we're at right now. We're past, she was abducted. We're past, she disappeared from suspicious means. This is not that type of investigation anymore. This moved from a criminal investigation into a homicide investigation very quickly, and that is how they're treating this case right now. For Maddie, they're treating it, even though they're wanting to hold out hope. You can see it in her sister's face. You can see when her sister talks, the pain, the grief that is behind those eyes. You can see that, and that they already know that her sister's not coming back. You can see that. You can sense it even through the computer. And so that's what I'm saying. When it's that strong that you can feel it through a computer, because the reason why we go out to all these places is because that's the one thing you don't get. Can you imagine how intense it is being there in person? It is very intense. So I think this is going to end very badly, like many of our other cases. I believe that we're going to find very soon that her boyfriend Adam is going to be arrested. Maybe not just yet, but he will be. There's going to be what they're waiting for right now is they probably already issued the subpoenas for the courts. It seems like they've already impounded the minivan. They probably have already executed a criminal search warrant with crime scene investigators on the house, and they probably have a lot of information they're holding close to their chest right now on all of that. So those findings will come back, and when those findings come back, they're probably going to be much tougher with the boyfriend. He's adamant that he did not have anything to do with it. It's hard to say because we don't see any criminal history for him. There's no, to the best of our knowledge, there's no reports of violence in the home. But what I'm finding with a lot of these 20-somethings is they can't handle rejection. They were never taught how to handle rejection, because in their era, everybody's the winner. Everybody gets a trophy. If you have an emotional problem, you're taught, again, and I say this, and it's no pun intended, but it's the reality. It's the gravity of what we're dealing with. They're taught if they have a problem to go find a corner and color. They were teaching our high school kids that. That is not how do you prepare children or young adults for the real world. There are no winners and losers. There's haves and have-nots in the real world. There is, we were taught in our school when I was brought up, you are disposable to an employer. You are disposable to an employer. Let me say that again. You are disposable to an employer. If you don't come there with your A game 110% every day, they will find somebody that will. Our children are not taught that. We were taught in school. Life outside of school isn't fair. Enjoy school while you got it. We were taught that. I remember countless teachers telling me that. Countless teachers. You think it's tough here? Wait until you get out there in the real world, right? And us young teens, we just could do it better, right? We had all the answers. We knew what we were doing. It wasn't until we go and hit that concrete wall a few times or get knocked on our butt a few times from this game called life, and that's when we realize that life is a cruel world, and they are not preparing our young kids for that. Think about it. That shooter over at that bank, right? He was getting fired, 20-something years old. What does he do? He can't handle rejection. He shoots up the whole freaking bank, kills 6 people, I believe, injures 9, if I'm not mistaken. 20-something-year-olds, right? The girl that went to the school, 20-something-year-old. They can't handle rejection. They're taught everybody wins. This is a problem. And you see the fruits of those labors. And whether people want to agree with it or not, it is the reality. Otherwise, explain it. Explain it to me why we have so many angry 20-somethings. I was wild in my 20s. I was not angry. Guess I could get angry. Depends on the day, right? But definitely, we didn't grab guns and go shoot up innocent people. That's one thing we didn't do. The world has went to hell in a handbasket. I agree with that. There's no doubt about that. We live it. We live it on this channel each and every day. And you know what? We cover these cases, and when we look into our chat, we find out that some of these people that are in our chat have dealt with stuff that we're covering. They've seen evil face to face, and they come here to this chat almost daily. They are warriors, and God bless them that have overcome so much. We've had subs that had murdered children. We've had subs that have lost their significant others. There's people that identify the pain that we're talking about here. They have Billy Joe's social media admit it. So it's just one of those things. I wish I had more. I got my book to go over a lot of the stuff that we learned. Oh, and then for those that weren't on here yesterday for our live, we found out for the 3 victims in Marion County, they are victims of homicide, but they were all also assailants. So we're learning from law enforcement that these 6 were committing armed burglaries and robberies. It sounds like Camille is familiar or comfortable with riding in the trunk to these crimes. So that's why she was in the trunk. And why she got in the trunk. So Layla Silvernail, the unidentified male victim that was deceased, trunk of the car and dumped in the lake. All of them were with Robert, Christopher, and Taj. Robert, Christopher, and Taj decided to execute them for an unknown reason. We don't know if it was because they were worried that they were going to snitch on them. We don't know if they killed them to rob them, to take whatever they had on them. It obviously wasn't to jack the car, because they ended up driving the car 20 minutes away and dumping it. So we don't really know why they turned on each other. Now, one of the reasons could be, I don't like bringing it up, but it is becoming apparent and obvious, depending on the color of the male victim, it appears that it was all the white people executed in this ring. It seems like Taj, Robert, and Christopher may have targeted them because they felt that the white kids would turn on the black kids or something like that. I don't know what the reason was. But at this moment, it does appear that, I'm still trying to look at the identity of the male subject, but it looks like they executed all the white people on their team, which I feel is almost a hate crime in and of itself. And I'm wondering if the state is going to be looking at it through that lens or not, or if, I don't think they're going to take this, not going to take this seriously. Obviously, this is a big deal. Obviously, it upset the sheriff a lot. And I'm probably feeling at this point it's upsetting the sheriff a lot to know that these young kids were involved in such adult crimes at such a young age. These kids had their whole life ahead of them. They were making very, very poor decisions for themselves as young adults. And it might be because maybe the families, maybe all of them, come from a family, that their family didn't have money. And so that makes kids a little more desperate, especially if they want something or need something, and they start looking at, paths of least resistance. How can they get what they want quickly, right? For me, when I was in school, I sold cigarettes, right? 25 cents a cigarette. I always had cartons and packs of cigarettes on me. Don't ask me how I got them. I'd never tell you my secrets, right? But I was a hustler, and I did come from a family, but my family, when we did have money, somewhat money. I mean, we weren't like, like the Struthers, like out there on St. Simon's Island, but we lived a comfortable lifestyle. It was a little crazy lifestyle. Many of you guys heard about it. It wasn't always that, but when my life was bad, it was really, really, really ugly and really bad. But we did come from money, and that's why people never really thought that those types of things went on in our household. I was living in a big, beautiful house in Northwest Bradenton, which was the elite area at that time. I was living next to doctors, lawyers, and car dealership owners. Like, I had Poucher Cadillac was my neighbor behind me. I had a doctor that lived across the street from me. We had Alex Terrace Lincoln Mercury lived behind me. Poucher Cadillac lived next to me. And then we had Mr. Conley Buick, that lived right down the road from me. Now, these are these are car dealership owners. Then you got not to mention all the attorneys. If you're from Bradenton, you guys know Jodat Law Group. I lived down the road from Jodat Law Group, and I was friends with his daughter before she died, Katie. She was a really sweet girl, but her name was Katie Jodat, and she lost her life after we graduated from high school. So, I mean, I've known, where we lived was a very elite area. It was the Lakewood Ranch of Bradenton when I was growing up. That was the area everybody wanted to live in. If you didn't live in West Bradenton, you were scum, right? You were scum. I don't know how to say it than that. This is back in the 80s, okay? That's the way they looked at you, and you had to talk right, you had to walk right, you had to dress right, it was one of those areas. So, but we didn't just get things handed to us, we had to work for it. Sorry, I have to listen to my GPS. I got to go straight to stay on 301 North. Okay. Which one's 301 North? It says straight. Does it say straight? Yes. Okay. I have to keep moving my visor. So, maybe it was something like that, but we had to work for everything. When I was young, like, people don't realize, like, when I was young, I dug ditches. My dad had me out digging ditches. You know how much money I made a day digging ditches to lay wire in? And then you're talking about when I was 5, 6, 7 years old. I made $5 a day because my dad bought me lunch, and he said that was fair. I dug ditches for $5 a day. When I got a little bit older and I could do a little bit more, like actually put receptacles in, run wire, all that other stuff, I got $10 a day. That's what makes people work. When you're younger and you're introduced to manual labor and you get a little bit of money. When I remember one of my first jobs, when I got older and I could actually get a job. Well, my first job was Domino's, but I lied on my application, so I was actually working at 14 to make money instead of 15, which was the required age. I did lie. I will be honest with you. I lied on an application to Domino's, and by the time they caught it, I was already old enough that I could work there, so I didn't get dinged, and they let me work there. But that was my first job because I couldn't get into McDonald's. Then I kind of didn't like that job anymore, and I decided to go to McDonald's. But you know, that first time you get that paycheck, you work an entire week, and usually you're used to a paycheck of $25, and you get your first paycheck, and it's $125 for all this manual labor, sitting over grills, having to deal with crabby customers. But you look at that check, right? You look at that check and you just think you are rich. You don't know how you can spend that money fast enough. It's like, oh, they didn't want me to buy that outfit. Guess what I'm doing? I'm going to get that outfit, right? You feel like that sense of independence when you're finally got your job and you work that week, and now you got this check and it's $120. Rich, you're ready to pack up the house. You're ready to go get yourself an apartment and tell your parents, I got this life thing under control. I know how to do this now, right? Right? Yeah. Okay. Well, we did talk about, at the beginning of this segment about how life knocks you on your butt, right? So what happens? You get this, you work, you save your money, you're like, okay, I'm done with my mommy and daddy telling me what I can and can't do. I'm going to do this by myself. So what do? You go and run away and move out and get yourself an apartment. And your parents are scratching your head saying, are you going to be able to afford this, with what you're making and da-da-da-da. And it's like, yeah, I got this. Don't worry about me. I got this. I'm going to do this much better than I was doing it at your house, right? And then 6 months later, what happens, right? You're packing up the apartment and you're moving back on home, right? Because you have this life thing so down pat. You know better than anybody else, right? So you're like a little dog running back home with your tail between your legs saying, you're right, maybe I need to stay home and do it the way you say to do it, right? These are true stories. And not only that, the apartment I lived in, oh my God, one of the reasons why we moved out is because it ended up getting torn down. It was uninhabitable. We weren't supposed to be there. Well, I shouldn't say we weren't supposed to be there. We had a rental contract, and of course I was living with my best friend, and it was one bedroom apartment. We crashed together on a bed, and if there was other people staying over, I'd crash on the couch. But that was just what you did when you're 17 years old and out on your own. You find the cheapest place to live and you make it your own. Well, this place here was literally condemned. Believe it or not, it was knocked down and became a the house that I lived in, and I got to tell you, me and my best friend. I'm not going to say her name because she doesn't deserve to have YouTube up her crawl. And it's my high school best friend. It's not Miss Laura. Miss Laura can handle her own. Miss Laura will tell you where to go and how to get there. She taught me everything I know. You don't want to mess with my BFF. But my friend from high school that I lived in this place, she was brutalized by her ex-boyfriend. And even when I tried to intervene, one of her, his violent outbursts on her, he ended up turning on me and hurting me. But he ended up, it's like karma, when you look at life. She did get away from him, thank God. But later down the road, he ended up getting shot and he was paralyzed. He was a gangster. He didn't really care about things. He had a lot of childhood trauma himself. But yeah, he was very violent to her, and she was scared for her life for many years, even after leaving him. But I just thought how fitting it was that the place that we lived, and the place he brutalized and was so violent with her, ended up being a home for domestic violence families. It's like a group home for women, even women that are pregnant. Just need help. It's like a women's shelter. It's a women's shelter that caters with women and kids. So I just thought how fitting that was. I didn't realize the irony of that, when it happened years ago. But I definitely, as I'm an adult, realize the irony of that now. And I still talk to her here and there. I remember when we were in high school, we're like, everybody always said when you get older, you lose your friends that you're in high school with, and we're like, no, we'll never. I mean, we were as thick as thieves, and never thought the day that her and I wouldn't be friends. But we're not. I mean, it's not that we're not friends. We still when we get together, it's like we picked up right where we left off. Almost no time lost. But it's not. We went from literally talking every day, hanging out. Her and I even had the same shift at McDonald's. We got there to open just so we could be off by afternoon, so we could go to the beach and hang out at the beach from 2 o'clock on. And I remember we were so poor, we couldn't even afford, chairs, like beach chairs. So we took towels and backed up the Tercel. I had a Toyota Tercel at the time, and it had just the angle of the back window on the car made that perfect, like, lawn chair. Then, so we just put our towels up on the back of the car, sat up on the trunk, and got sun that way. That was our beach chairs, man. You can't get those types of memories. You can never get rid of. Those are the life struggles that I think really help define people. When mommy and daddy is taking care of everything, you don't get those experiences. You don't get to appreciate all that you worked for or all that you come from. I mean, I came from, being actually, I don't want to say like being a deadbeat. I almost lost my life. My struggle was real. It was real, and it was real life. And I almost lost my life multiple times. And it took me a long time to realize there's a reason why I'm here. God doesn't want me yet. There's something I'm supposed to do here on this planet that I need to figure out before it's time for me to go home. And that's what I try to do each and every day. Do I do life perfectly? Of course not. Oh, Lord, I'd love to say, hey, you know what, I did it perfectly, right? You couldn't get no more perfect than this, right? Yeah, that's a fallacy. That's something that people try to tell you exists that doesn't exist. There is no perfect. There is no perfect. There's no perfect man. There's no perfect job. There's no perfect life. There's no perfect amount of money. There's no perfect height. There's no perfect weight. There's no perfect hearing. There's no perfect vision. There's no perfect in this world. This is an illusion that many people think. There's no perfect. There will never be perfect. There's only one that is truly perfect. Truly perfect. And it's the one I pray to very often. Yep, there's no perfect. So, you know what we look for? We look for progress. We don't look for perfection. We look for progress. That's what's expected of us. We want progress. We want to make sure that we're not doing the same stupid stuff we did yesterday, right? We want to make sure that we're growing. We want to make sure that we're learning. When you stop learning is when you've given up. Like every day I wake up, and I can tell you that every day I work, I learn something new. Every day. I am not above learning. The learning has never stopped for me. When I'm curious about something, I look into it. I mean, think about it. I've got an AA in paralegal studies. I figured if I cornered all the major professions, I will be okay. I never said master them. But I've got an education in health. I've got an education in accounting. I got an education in law. I've got an education in construction. So I figured if you corner all these things, the must-haves of everybody that they absolutely need, which is health and homes. I figured if I had education, no matter where I go, how bad this world got, I would always be able to fit in somewhere and still make a buck and still be able to take care of myself and survive. I did that all before the age of 24. And people would be surprised to know that, yes, I was drinking and partying and working 2 jobs and still had time for a drug problem. I just want to let that sink in. I was going to college. I was working 2 jobs. I was going out partying and still had time for a drug problem. I sure did. So, a lot of people misconstrue what drugs look like. I can guarantee you, nobody that I worked with when I was working for an accounting firm in the grips of a lot of my addiction. And nobody in my accounting office knew. You know why? I showed up to work every day, worked while I was there. I didn't use while I was at work, and I did my day. And then I went over to my second job. It wasn't until the night fell. Did I wake up some days? Did I have black circles under my eyes? Was I tired? Was I hungover sometimes? Absolutely. But, and I tell people this story because, a lot of kids are going to these harder drugs, and parents are so proud of their kids because they're making A's and B's, and they stop cleaning their rooms, they stop looking in their drawers, they stop being nosy because their children are doing well. I'm telling you, I graduated with a 3.67 GPA. A 4.0 in my time when I went to college is the highest you could go. There wasn't any kind of 4.6 GPAs whenever I was going to school. You could only get a 4.0. I made a 3.67 GPA. I graduated the top 2% of my class. I graduated on Dean's List and honor roll every single semester. So just because your children are doing good, it doesn't mean that you need to quit being nosy. I tell people my story because I don't want other kids going down the road that I went. That's why I'm a lot of the teenagers that I see right now. I want to help keep teenagers out of juvenile detention and try to get things going for them so they're never ever put in the system. That's what I truly aspire for. We want to save children. And I truly believe that it's their home environment that's causing a lot of their outlash and their bad behavior in school is because it's a product of their home life environment. So I don't like children being pegged as bad kids because they have a bad home life and they don't know how to deal with it and they don't have the resources to deal with it. In some of these cases, the parents don't give a crap. They don't. They're on drugs and alcohol themselves. They're working, 3 jobs just to keep a roof over their family's head. They don't have time. And that's the reality of life. Life is an ugly place. It's not fair. It's trophies. Nobody's a winner. There are haves and have-nots in this world. And I can tell you, I am a have-not. But I love the 2 more than I am. God bless to the haters. I'm not that. Not. To Georgia, I still have quite a little bit of a ride. I got about another 2 hours on the road. I don't want to keep you here because I know you guys got other creators that you may want to see this morning for actual news because all we've been doing is just chilling and chatting. We haven't really been covering a whole lot. And I don't really have a whole lot of new information from yesterday. All I can say is that we will be doing our live coverage on the West trial starting Monday. Now that we have the order, we know exactly what we are and are not allowed to do. So I hope everybody decides to come over and hang out with us on Monday to go cover the West trial. It's going to be a balance. I'm going to try to figure out how to do it. But I'm going to try to run, because I don't know what my audience wants to watch more, whether they want to watch the Stout trial or the West trial. So I'm going to have 2 computers up and running, and we're going to watch both. I'm going to have one computer set up in one room so we don't hear the back feed, and I'm going to have another computer set up in the other room so we're not getting back feeds on any of that, and we are going to be running. So any of my audience, if you want to watch the Stout trial, you'll have the opportunity to watch that. And if you want to do real-time coverage on the West trial, we will be doing that as well. So you guys get to pick where you want to be and what you want to watch. So we will be back here. Don't forget, tomorrow morning, before I go over to Laura's house, I am going to be doing a live. We're going to kind of button up everything we learned. I'm hoping that by tomorrow, hopefully by the time I get home tonight, I'll get a second wind where I can go through my footage and we can start discussing the footage. I'm going to try to stop back by Marion County on the way back just to get a few other clips that I forgot while I was in town before I make it back to the house. But again, we are uncovering a lot. It's not, I can tell you, with the Marion County teenagers, I can honestly tell you that I was shocked to hear the new revelations going on in that story, and it almost saddens me even more. It really does. So, anyways, guys, we will be back. I love each and every one of you. Thank you guys for participating in the travel and keeping me company. We will be live. Be on the lookout in front of the courthouse to discuss Leilani Simon's case and what this motion hearing means for the case. We are going to go over the counts that the state would like to have removed. And we are going to I'm going to give my 2 cents. Now, what I'm going to say is not factual, because the only factual, there's no right or wrong answer in this, because the only thing that's going to be factual is how the judge decides, right? That is going to be the most factual resolution to these motion hearings. So when I talk to you, it's going to be speculative in nature, and we are going to discuss it's going to be speculative in nature, and we're going to discuss my theories as to how this hearing is going to go through and how it's going to take place, and what may be said, what may not be said, and how the judge may rule or may not rule. We're going to go over all of those things, and then we're going to see how we do after the trial is, or after the hearing is over, and see how much of the information we got right and how much of the information we got wrong. So that's going to be all coming up. So I hope you guys can come back and join me. We will be in front of Chatham County Courthouse in just a few short hours to run this live. I am, however, going to go over to the coffee shop that I love that has my caramel white mocha and get me a 20-ounce caramel mocha, white mocha. I'm telling you, I have that cup of coffee. It's like a $6 or $7 cup of coffee from this coffee shop, and I love their coffee. And I have to be honest with you, it's gone in like 2 seconds. It literally is gone in like 2 seconds. I taste it and I just chug it. It tastes so stinking good. And my heart just goes pitty-patter every time I come to Savannah, Georgia, and I'm next to that coffee house. I have to go get me some coffee, the caramel white mocha, 20-ounce baby. We're going to be double fisting it because I got my coffee in here, and we're going to have that. So we'll be doing good. Anyways, guys, don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and an ounce of prevention would have been needed to save Quentin Simon in this case that we're about to go cover in Savannah, Georgia. So I'll see you guys soon. I'm happy that you guys are with me. I am really sorry that there was some misunderstanding with the whole court order thing. I mean, I did hear some things about it, but when I was reading everything, it was basically the way I was reading it is the judge would have pulled the audio if he didn't want the public to hear the audio. The way I was reading the rules they were getting, but I didn't have the specific order for the case. I now have the specific order to the West trial. So now that we have the order to the West trial, we are now able to do what we need to do in accordance with the court order. So I will show you how it's done, and we'll see you here on Monday. God bless each and every one of you, and until next time, be kind to one another. Take this.